NFL Week 8 recap. Hope everyone's doing well. Going all the way back to Thursday night football. We're going to be recapping usage. We're going to be recapping scores. We're going to give some fantasy takes. That's mostly what we do on this channel. So, going back to Thursday, the Chargers absolutely destroy the Vikings 37-10. Proving to 5-3, the Vikings dropped to 3-4. Yeah, the Vikings are looking like pretenders. I don't know how this game was a 3-point spread. The big talking point out of this one is, of course, Herbert continues to be awesome. 3 touchdowns. Kamani Vidal, a nice day. 23 carries, 120 yards and a touchdown. Jarrett Patterson, he's like an old practice squad guy of theirs. Got back in there. And then Arande Gadsden, the rookie tight end, 5th-round pick, 577-1. Not a guy that was drafted that often in Best Ball Mania or in Best Ball in general. We were taking quite a bit of Keandre Lambert-Smith, who I believe has been inactive. And then I think the big talking point out of this one is Ladd McConkey, 688-1. He had a bicep injury. I think he just wasn't healthy. The tackles were out of there. So QJ gets blanked in this one. He's not going to get blanked every week. He's running routes. But, yeah, I think Ladd is back to being the Ladd we know. Keenan Allen, 4 for 44. Trey Harris got a garbage time touchdown, kind of. Vikings, we're going to get J.J. McCarthy back, which, please, anything but Wentz. Aaron Jones returned. Nothing to speak of in the run game here. Justin Jefferson, 7 for 74. Jordan Addison, 3 for 26-1. Kind of a terrible day, box score-wise, for the Vikings. Route 1 data, the big thing to look at here is this coming in blurry for you guys? Looks quite blurry on my screen. Let me know. Are you seeing this clear or not? Anyways, the big thing to look at here is Aaron Jones versus Jordan Mason. People were not really expecting Aaron Jones, his first game back, to play that much, but he directly outsnapped Jordan Mason by about 10 snaps. He ran 10 more routes than Jordan Mason. He got 3 more targets, 4-1. And 5 carries for Aaron Jones, 4 carries for Jordan Mason. So yeah. Anyways, it looks like hard to say if this was the trailing game script. You want to play Jones more, or if they're kind of over Jordan Mason and, Aaron Jones now gets the mini bye, will be playing quite a bit more. Notable is that Xavier Scott still getting in there a little bit. He's played well enough. The wide receiver rotation is nothing notable here, right? Like Jalen Naylor, he's your wide receiver 3, getting no targets. Adam Thielen, he's getting some work, no targets. And then it's really Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson. Chargers, a little bit more interesting to look at. Some things that stand out to me is that Keenan Allen, only 17 routes run in this one, did draw 5 targets. And I think that has to do with the fact that Keenan Allen is old. The Chargers are now 5-3. And when they have games in hand in the regular season, why would you be running Keenan Allen out unnecessarily? So not great for fantasy for Keenan, but is logical from a winning football games type of sense to, you drafted Trey Harris in the 2nd round. You got to see what this guy has, right? So 11 routes run for Trey Harris compared to 17 for Keenan. Only 2 targets for Trey Harris. Did score a touchdown, though, so, maybe he can build off that. And then 10 targets for Ladd. And for Gadsden, 5. Only 5 targets for Gadsden. And looked, he was absolutely destroying on all of them. Looks like one of the best tight ends in football. But yeah, 10 targets for Ladd. That's going to do it. QJ, a whopping 0 targets. He'll have some games, but I think we're back to Ladd being the alpha, Gadsden being kind of like co-alpha E / just good matchup. And then, Keenan, QJ, Trey Harris, they'll get the slops. Kamani Vidal, pretty much the only running back getting work in this one. And the real question here is how long is Marion Hampton out? Okay. You're welcome, sir. Trading for Cook. Yeah, I think it was a no-brainer. Let's get to the main slate. And before we even get into the games here, terrible week of football, right? We're at the point in football, if I just pull up the box scores here, you have some teams that are good. You have a lot of teams that are bad. And then, yeah, it doesn't make for great football, especially on a slate with a bunch of decent to good teams on bye, right? Like, just going through these teams that played so far, like, okay, the Chargers, they are a good team. They played not a great team. They played like an okay team, right? Like the Vikings might even make the playoffs, but they're not, they're not real. Ravens, I mean, Lamar's out, so like that doesn't really count to me. Both these teams, Falcons, Dolphins, these are not great football teams. Jets, Bengals, these are not great football teams. The Bills are a good team. They played a not great team. Niners, Texans. 49ers are super injured, but yeah, both these teams are probably not the best teams. And the 49ers, they have 5 wins. They were just like, this is one of the wackiest games. We're not competitive. The Pats are a good team. They played a not great team in the Browns. The Eagles are a good team. They played, this is a massive success of a year for the Giants in my book, where you landed Jackson Dart, you hit, you drafted Abdul Carter, you added a lot of talent. They're just a year or two away. I think Jackson Dart easily is going top 5 in the NFL draft if it happened tomorrow with the same class. Obviously, Cam Scatterbo gets hurt. We'll get into that. The Bucs are a good football team. They played a not good team in the Saints. The Colts are a good football team. They played a terrible team in the Titans. I think the Broncos and Cowboys are both kind of pretenders. Maybe the Broncos are a little bit legit. They got good defense at least, but I think if the Broncos and Colts played in the playoffs, the Colts would destroy the Broncos. The Packers are a good football team. They played a middling team in the Steelers, right? And then we got Mahomes playing against an injured Commanders team. So just bad slate of football happens sometimes. Anyways, let's see. Dolphins, Falcons up next. And unfortunately, this marks the end of my Survivor run. Pick the Falcons. And I had the thought Sunday morning. Because we were kind of talking about it on stream. And someone's like, oh, are you considering getting different? And I was like, well, I kind of want to survive. I kind of want to save the good teams. So like the Bills, the Chiefs, etc. for the double bye weeks, week 11, or the double team pick weeks, week 11. And so I was like, but then Sunday morning, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just swap to the Eagles. It's a week where a ton of the field's going to be on the Falcons. A ton of the field's going to be on the Bengals. And so just getting different, in case some whammies happen, is super valuable. I had the thought. I didn't end up doing it. Obviously regret it. And then the Bengals and the Falcons, 2 teams, both end up losing, right? So I'm out of Survivor. Was my first time playing. Was super fun. Super fun sweat. Would have liked to make it at least to week 11. Obviously make a deeper run than that, but we're out. Played poorly. I think, obviously if you have the Colts left, okay, that's fine. But I think I should have just, on a Buymageddon week, it would have been probably sharp just to be like, you know what? Let me just pick Buffalo. Let me just pick Philadelphia. Let's just move on. Anyways, the Dolphins destroy the Falcons 34-10. Tua throws 4 touchdowns. He had this weird thing where he's like, one eye was swollen. Achane, 8 for 67 on the ground. Ollie Gordon, 10 for 46 on the ground. Jalen Wright sighting, 9 for 28 on the ground. Don't know if that was garbage time. Jalen Waddle, 599 and 1. Malik Washington, 436 and 1. Achane, 524 and 1 in the air. And Ollie Gordon also caught a touchdown, a 20-yard cut touchdown as well. So Achane and Waddle pretty much a smash since Tyreek's injury. And then Malik Washington, a little bit best ball bags are looking live there. Falcons, man, hard to explain this one. Obviously, I personally thought that Kirk Cousins could go the way of Aaron Rodgers, where he's a full year removed from the Achilles. But really, the question, when you have these injuries at this old age, the question is how motivated are you to rehab your work? And Aaron Rodgers is a crazy person, so I bet he was super motivated to rehab his Achilles and get back. And Kirk Cousins, he's probably happy with his hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's getting paid to be a backup quarterback. And, I think he Should probably stay that way, right? Anyways, Kirk Cousins, 173 passing yards. So Michael Penix breathes a sigh of relief. Bijan Robinson, 9 carries, 25 yards. Truly a puzzling outing. Tyler Algier, 4 carries, 4 yards, 1 touchdown. Kyle Pitts, 9 for 60. And then Darnell Mooney, 1 for 11. Like, truly puzzling. No Drake London in this one. Let's look at the route usage here. So without Tyreek, it's Waddle, Westbrook-Ikhine, and Malik Washington. Westbrook-Ikhine is a great guy to compete with targets with because he doesn't draw a lot of targets. Cedric Wilson, he got in there a little bit, but he's like a blocking wide receiver. Only eight routes run for him. And then with Darren Waller on IR, Greg Dulcich signing, which honestly, like, I don't know anything about this Tanner Connor guy, man with 2 first names. But you know, if you have to bet on someone to eventually emerge here and get a little PPR scammy, I would bet on Dulcich. We've seen him at least do it before. But in this one, Tanner Connor plays more snaps. Notable that Dulcich and him, though, ran an equal amount of routes. Achane, Gordon, and Wright getting in there. 46 snaps to 21 to 11. 19 routes to 8 to 1. 6 targets to 1 to 1. 18 carries to 10 to 9. So good win for the Dolphins. They're 2-6. Trade deadline is November 4th. So that is next Tuesday. And this is a team that they won, but like, are they going to send Achane to the Chargers? I don't even know if we want that for our Achane bags. Are they going to fire Mike McDaniel? You know, like what's going to happen to this team? They did win, of course, but still. Falcons, yeah, I mean, okay, usage-wise, it's Darnell Mooney, David Sills, and Kadarius Hodge. They bizarrely released Darnell Mooney. I mean, not Darnell Mooney. Ray McLeod, who's on the Giants practice squad. And so that bumps up David Sills here. None of them could draw targets except for Kadarius Hodge, who drew 8. Kyle Pitts, 9 targets, 32 routes, so a good day for him. And then Bijan, Tyler Algier in a pretty even split. Just a terrible day for Bijan. We'll have to see what Penix can give once he's back. Bears, Ravens. So the Bears, coming off of 4 straight wins, lose to Tyler Huntley, improving the Ravens to 2-5, giving the Ravens massive hope, right? The Ravens are 2-5, and they got the Dolphins up next on Thursday Night Football. I think Lamar will play for that one, but who knows? Just a terrible performance for the Bears. I mean, this happens, right? Like, it's the NFL. The Bills lost to the Falcons. The Falcons blew out the Panthers, right? Like, the Chiefs lost 2 or 3 games to start the season, but Ravens keeping playoff hopes alive. They're helped out a lot that the Bengals lost, the Steelers lost, the Browns lost. Box score wise, Caleb Williams, 285 yards passing, no touchdowns though. DeAndre Swift, 11 for 45 and 1. Rome Odunze, a good game, 7 for 114. DJ Moore, 4 for 73. And then Colston Loveland, 3 for 38. So with no Cole Kmet, that's what he mustered here in a mostly trailing game script. There has been some rumblings that DJ Moore could get traded. Has some logic to it. Obviously, they got Luther Burden, who's kind of blocked. He's making a lot of money. So there's been some rumblings, maybe DJ Moore to the Patriots, maybe DJ Moore to the Bills. Yeah, and I mean, Loveland 3 for 38. Okay, it's something, but like, you want more. Obviously, the Ravens are off the bye here, had a lot of time. Derrick Henry, you know, a mix here. I've seen people be like, Derrick Henry's back. Okay, he averaged 3.4 yards per carry. If you're not hip to the NFL, that's terrible. Only 71 yards rushing. That's also bad. Scored 2 rushing touchdowns. That is good, though. So, yeah, when Derrick Henry's going to score 2 rushing touchdowns, he's going to have a good day. But other than that, not great usage. And then not great efficiency. And then Keaton Mitchell, 4 for 43. Harbaugh did say off the bye, you know, if you remember, Harbaugh's been like, oh, Keaton Mitchell doesn't do this, doesn't do that. Off the bye, he's like, you know what? We got to get Keaton Mitchell more involved, proving that fantasy owners are always right. 4 for 43 for Keaton Mitchell. So 11 yards per carry for him. Maybe he can earn more work. And then Zay Flowers, 7 for 63 in the passing game. Bateman, 2 for 51. Charlie Kolar caught a touchdown. So, like, yeah, the Ravens win by 14, but like a whatever day for most of the fantasy pieces there. Usage-wise, it's Rome, DJ Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus. Luther Burden exited with a concussion. So kind of a bummer. I don't know. Like maybe this would have been the Burden game where he starts to outsnap Zaccheaus. Who knows? Loveland, pretty much a full snap player here. 51 snaps out of 63, 32 routes, third most on the team, 5 targets. So, you're building on something. Loveland's dealt with a lot of injuries. I think he's a good football player. It's probably going to take another week or two at least to hopefully be what we want. And if DJ Moore is traded at the trade deadline, again, the Bears are 4-3, maybe that really opens things up for Loveland as well. Swift and Monangai, pretty much an even split from snaps and even split for routes. Swift draws 2 targets, and Swift gets 11 carries to Monangai 7. So Monangai playing a ton, but not doing a lot with it. For the Ravens post-bye, what was the plan? Zay, Bateman, Hopkins. Those are your top 3 wideouts. No surprises there. Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews pretty much just split everything. So they ran at least 2 tight end a ton, and Charlie Kolar also getting in there. So 15 routes for Andrews, 16 routes for Likely, 3 targets for Andrews, 2 targets for Likely. Basically makes both of them unplayable and managed. Obviously, we need to see what it's like with Lamar. Maybe the offense is so high powered that it can support these frustrating days. But yeah, not great when you're, 23 routes for Flowers, 20 for Bateman, 12 for Hopkins, 15 for Andrews, 16 for Likely. It's like, it's a version of the Bills and Packers here where a ton of guys are running routes. And then the Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell breakdown looks like this. 36 snaps for Henry, 11 routes, 21 carries. 19 snaps for Justice, 7 routes, 0 targets, 1 carry. 7 snaps for Keaton, that's all. 2 routes, that's all. No targets, 4 carries. Again, he turned those 4 carries into 43 yards. So you would think Keaton Mitchell gets more involved here, but we'll have to see on that. Bills at Panthers. Bills destroy the Panthers 40-9. Proving that guy that asked me if you could play the Panthers in Survivor. No. Okay, and this is, a couple things to talk about here. First of all, Josh Allen, a ho-hum passing day, 163-1. James Cook, my God, 20 carries, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both Josh Allen and James Cook did not play in the fourth quarter in this one. So Cook could have easily had 300 rushing yards. And, if you want to win some bar trivia right now, you want to make a bet with someone, walk up to someone in the bar and say, who's leading the league in rushing yards per game? Everyone's going to say Jonathan Taylor. Shockingly, it's actually Cook who has Taylor edged out by 1 yard per game. Obviously, Cook has had his bye and Taylor has not, so not total rushing yards per game there. But yeah, 216 and 2 for Cook. Looks clearly like the best skill player on the Bills. Ray Davis, Ty Johnson continue to do nothing when they play. Khalil Shakir, 6 for 88 and 1. Most of this stuff, like 88 yards, you're like, oh, great day. Most of this is yards after catch. So, it's Shakir catching a 0-yard catch and then turning it into a 50-yard touchdown. Keon Coleman, 3 for 30. Dalton Kincaid, 1 for 23. Played an extremely small amount of snaps in this one. And as someone that watched the game, Kincaid had a 23-yard reception, and I noticed that he was grimacing out of after that. He came into the game with an oblique injury, and after the game had like a giant bandage and ice on his knee. So looks like Kincaid got further banged up. I personally think that the Bills realize Kincaid is their best receiver, and if he was fully healthy, he would be playing something like 70% of the snaps, something like this when they want to pass, but he's not. And so maybe that inspires them to be further buyers at the trade deadline. The Panthers, really nothing notable here. Andy Dalton was terrible, but the Bills, they got a lot of reinforcements. on the defense. Rico Dowdle, way more efficient than Chuba. And I think we got some rumblings from Dave Canales that they're going to start playing Rico more. He barely, like every carry he did was like a 7 to 8 yard run. He barely played after like the second quarter. Don't know why. Tet McMillan, 7 for 99. Again, the score was 40-9. So all this is garbage time. Usage wise here, again, the Bills rested most of the starters in the fourth quarter. So things are going to look skewed here, but Keon, Shakir, Elijah, Shavers, Curtis Samuel, they all got in there. Shakir led the way in targets. Kincaid, 12 for 3. And then Cook, only 28 snaps in this one out of 63. But again, he didn't play the fourth quarter. 8 routes run. The only bugaboo on Cook is like, why are they not throwing him the ball at all? Like why are there no bubble screens or, just like little zigzag routes where you just like dump them off behind the line of scrimmage? Because newsflash for best ball folks, draft the fast guys who are going to tout the ball a lot and can go score long touchdowns. I've always said this in best ball, but like Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, even if they were not having the type of seasons they were having, that they can go score an 80-yard touchdown on a single carry. And so even if they're not advanced rate kings, they're the type of guy that can win you an individual week. Compare that to a plotter, say Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs is having a bad year, well, what are you hoping for? You're hoping for him to score like 3 rushing touchdowns, which is like harder to bank on than simply being faster than everyone. Anyways, 19 carries for Cook. We know what he did with it. And yeah, you think that there's been a lot of rumblings about the need for a wide receiver. Safety looked like a big need for the Bills as well, but they played the rookie who did well. They lost Ed Oliver for the year here. I think the dream guy for the Bills to get is Rashid Shaheed. Just adds an element that they don't really have, speed, and he can do more with it. And if they really want to go all in, Chris Olave obviously would be massive for Buffalo. But we'll see. And then the Kincaid, I have him in managed, and I have been playing him, but I don't know if I'm going to play him with this knee injury plus the oblique. Some possibility they were just trying to save him for the Chiefs game, but we'll see. Panthers. We'll take a question here. As someone with a good amount of Cook advancing, are you more nervous about the Bills week 15 to 16 matchups now? I would say the game against the Browns, definitely not, because, I understand their defense is awesome, but if the Bills want to get Cook going in that one, he's going to get going, right? Like, I think the Panthers, if you listen to any like DFS stuff, everyone's like, oh, the Panthers, look what they've done against Bijan. Look what they've done against blah, 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 and it's like, well, when the Bills want to run the ball on you, they got the alignment to do it. Same thing with New England. New England's been awesome against running backs, but I think Buffalo will get James Cook going if they want. Anyways, Panthers here. The split between Rico and Chuba continues to be puzzling. I think this is going to switch where, they should switch, right? Like, a lot of people call Rico just a guy. I think he's proven he's not. He looks great every time he touches the football. Jalen Coker, he's third in routes, third in snaps. Hard to assess this team with how bad the quarterback play was. Jets, Bengals. This was your close game, but it was a terrible game, 39-38. I will say that I'm happy for Justin Fields. The Jets owner pretty much trashed Justin Fields. I saw a press conference where Justin Fields mentioned that he, was lying down in his closet, crying and stuff like that. So sad to see that Justin Fields, mental health may be impacted by this. Certainly, obviously no NFL player watches my podcast, so I've been hard on Fields, but, if I knew he was listening to me, I would not want to be that way. We're not in this business to hurt people's feelings. Obviously, he's probably not a starting quarterback, but I'm happy for him to get a win, improve to 1-7. Really crushes the Bengals, who could have played for the playoffs and still kind of can. Anyways, box score wise, Justin Fields 244-1. Breece Hall, big day here, 18-133-2. The question is, does Breece Hall get moved at the trade deadline? Isaiah Davis, 7 for 65. Tyler Johnson, rookie, I believe, 364 and 1. Mason Taylor, the tight end rookie, 534 and 1. And then Isaiah Davis, RB2 there, 5 for 44 in the air. No Garrett Wilson in this one, of course. So you would think that Justin Fields bought another start, or at least a couple. Tyrod banged up. Tyrod was supposed to start this one, but, Fields gets the win. Flacco, 2 touchdowns. Samaje Perine, 994 and 1. Chase Brown, revival, 1273 and 1. Joe Flacco rushing touchdown, of course. And then a hilarious 12 targets for Jamar Chase and 91 yards. Higgins scores a long touchdown. Chase Brown catches a touchdown. Noah Fant, 3 for 41, whatever. So nice to see the Chase Brown revival. Tough for the Bengals to lose this one, but again, happy for Fields. I don't think we care about the usage much in this. Tyler Johnson, or I think he used to be on the Bucs, actually. I think I'm mixing him up with Aaron Smith, but 32 routes, 4 targets. So, none of these wide receivers are addable. You would think Alan Lazard gets traded to the Steelers at the trade deadline, but we'll see on that. 9 targets for Mason Taylor. He's a startable player and managed 55 snaps, 33 routes. And then Isaiah Davis, Breece Hall breakdown, 40 to 33 snaps, 19 to 17 routes, 2 targets for Breece, 5 targets for Davis, 18 carries for Breece, 7 for Davis. So Davis playing a ton in this one. Maybe a sign that they are going to move on from Breece, or just, if they can't get enough from Breece, why do it? I think a team that would have been into getting Breece is perhaps the Bears if they had won, but they did not. Bengals. One of the most boring teams to look at usage-wise because it's Chase Higgins, Yoshi Voss. It's Noah Fant, and Drew Sample, who's the blocking tight end. Tanner Hudson is back. He's been hurt for a while, so he got hurt last year, but 10 routes run for Hudson. Okay, so that complicates things further for the Bengals tight end group. Chase Brown and Perine, a pretty even split in this one, more so than we're used to seeing. 12 carries for Chase, 9 for Perine, 3 targets for Chase, 1 for Perine, 17 to 14 routes, 32 to 25 snaps. So Samaje Perine, legit rosterable and managed now, with Flacco reviving the offense. Is this happening for anyone else? Maybe refresh the stream for yourself there, Mr. Mobsey. Yeah, it kind of happens to me too. I don't know. I gotta look into that. Let's add the comments to stage. Luckily, there's not much on the video here. Okay, Niners and Texans, and this is an extremely bizarre game in terms of time of possession. Texans handily win 26-15. But it was 16-0 or something for the Texans. Maybe it was 16-7. Niners were just never competitive in this one. Mac Jones, 2 touchdowns. Hopefully we see Purdy soon. And then just like Bijan, a terrible game for CMC. 8 for 25. Juwan Jennings, 4 for 45. Kendrick Bourne, 344. George Kittle, 4 for 43 and 1. And I think what happened is, here, let me open my task manager. Maybe there's something in the background, actually. I think what happened is George Kittle had a second touchdown targeted to him that he that got intercepted by his own teammate, Jake Tongas. So I think George Kittle was supposed to have 2 touchdowns. Got 1, though. Nice to see him get in the box score. And yeah, CMC, 8 for 25 on the ground, 3 for 43 in the air, and a trailing game script. Just a terrible game. And then Juwan Jennings, 4 for 45. He's looking back to be the wide receiver 1. John Lynch, the GM, did say that Brandon Ayuk's practice window, 21-day practice window, I believe will be opened this week. So that opens the window for him to play this week, next week, something like that. I don't think he's going to be shut down for the year with turf toe, but turf toe can nag you, man. it's really a bummer of an injury. They are 5-3, so like you would think they want to get him back after this beatdown. Texans, of course, Nico Collins misses the game with concussion, and Stroud has his first good game of the year. 318-2 in the air. Woody Marks, 11 for 62 in the air. Nick Chubb, on the ground. Nick Chubb, 17 for 56. CJ Stroud, Konami code, 7 for 30 on the ground. Xavier Hutchinson, who's like kind of a sacrificial X, 570-1. Jalen Noel, the rookie, 5 for 63. Woody Marks, 4 for 50 in the air. So Woody Marks is looking like in my Discord, by the way, join that link below. People were like, oh, it's a terrible year for zero running back. Not true. Like, obviously, you would rather have someone like Cook, JT, etc. as an anchor, but tons of running backs in the mid to late rounds. Woody Marks, Ramondre, DeAndre Swift, like tons of guys who are providing value. J.K. Dobbins, etc. Jaden Higgins, the rookie, 4 for 34-1. Usage-wise here, Jennings, 30 routes. Kendrick Bourne, 31. Demarcus Robinson, 23. 7 targets for Jennings. So nice game to see for Jennings here. And he's been rumored that he could get traded at the trade deadline as well. Makes some sense with Kendrick Bourne looking well. George Kittle, 34 routes, only 4 targets, but you hope that improves. CMC played pretty much every single snap, 46 out of 48. And yeah, just a terrible day. 8 carries, 6 targets, 34 routes. So we'll have to monitor this for CMC. I would be, it's probably nothing. But if I was worried for someone more between CMC and Bijan, I would be a little bit more worried about CMC due to him being inefficient on the ground all year. And now the Texans are one of the top defenses in the NFL, and especially against pass-catching running backs. But again, it's something to monitor. Maybe he goes back to just being himself, or maybe it's a sign of, kind of the age catching up, the hits catching up, the injuries catching up. Talking about this year. And zero running back worked as well last year. You just a very narrow path, right? You had to get Bucky, you had to get Chuba, etc. You had to get Jerome Ford. Texans. Okay, so no Nico, no Kirk in this one. Just a bummer, Jaden Higgins leads the way in snaps played and routes run. So great to see for the rookie. 7 targets for him. Hutchinson plays the second most. And then looks like Noel and someone named Jared Wayne, who I don't know who Jared Wayne is. I don't know if this came out in the blowout or what was going on there. But I'm assuming they just split the slot snaps here. Or maybe Wayne and Braxton Berrios. Maybe Wayne just got in there in garbage time. I don't really know. Dalton Schultz got banged up in this one. We'll have to see how serious that is. And then Nick Chubb and Woody Marks, an even split in playing time. A little bit more carries for Chubb, more targets for Woody Marks, more routes run for Woody Marks. So Woody, the clear running back to prefer to hold here. Darian Gumboale and British Brooks still getting a little bit there. That's possible. Definitely think Kittle and Ayuk could open it up for CMC. They also, like someone like Ayuk, though, if he's Ayuk, he can also just catch an 80-yard touchdown, which, means CMC is not getting dink and dunk down the whole field the whole time. Kittle also seriously improves the run blocking, you would think, for CMC as well. Browns, Patriots. Browns were competitive in this one, but yeah, just, they got nothing on offense, man. It's a bummer. 13-32 for the Pats. Dylan Gabriel, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I hate to say it, but we got to see what Shedur's got, man. Rushing, Quinshon Judkins gets banged up in this one. Positive news, though, today. Browns are going into their bye, so I believe that we will see Quinshon Judkins after the bye fine and well. Even if not, or even if so, I would still recommend picking up Dylan Sampson off of waivers if you can afford to carry him. It's a little annoying. You got to wait for the bye, but you'll never know. Receiving, Harold Fannin, a good game. 6 for 62-1. David Njoku, garbage time touchdown, 437-1. Tight ends continue to get there against New England. Dylan Sampson, 5 for 29 in the air. Drake May continues to smash, 282 and 3 in the air. Travion Henderson, 10 for 75. So nice to see signs of life for Travion. He did fumble at the 1 yard line, but yeah, man, improvement at least. I personally think Travion's going to work out just like Cook, just like JT. This is an explosive running back. He may not exactly work out this year as we wanted to, but I would guess, later in the year, you're going to see improvement. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he's a league winner in future years. Ramondre, incredibly inefficient day, 14 carries, 34 yards, 2.4 yards per carry. Mac Hollins, 7 for 90 in the air. So nice game for Mac, who showed up to the game in a Bishop costume. Kayshon Boutte, 3 for 75 and 1. He continues to get deep touchdowns. And then a touchdown for Diggs on a short target, a touchdown for Henry on a short target. Usage-wise, Jerry Jeudy, definitely a name to monitor at the trade deadline. He's got to be cheap. Who knows how good Jeudy is, but could see a team like Buffalo, a team like New England trading for Jeudy. Cedric Tillman, I believe, is going to be active after the bye, perhaps further incentivizing the Browns to move on from Jeudy here. Only 3 targets for him. Isaiah Bond, someone named Gage Laveradane. Is this a creative player? Who knew Gage Laveradane? My God. I know a lot of NFL players, and I did not know that name. Jamari Thrash. We could be looking at a Browns wide receiver room of like Bond, Thrash, and Tillman, and maybe this Gage fella. Fannin and Njoku. Njoku is another name that could be traded at the trade deadline. Maybe a team like the Rams. You never know. 5 targets for Njoku, 7 for Fannin. Like the Giants, the Browns are not going to be winning games this year, but I think it's an incredibly successful year for them. They hit on a ton of rookie picks. They hit on Judkins. They hit on Fannin. Unlike the Giants, they did not hit on quarterback probably. So a little bit more of a bummer there. Maybe they add a veteran next year, a Rodgers type, etc. And then Samson, Judkins, Ford all playing a bit here. Samson gets, he's the RB2, it seems. Ford is another name to monitor at the trade deadline. You would think that the Chargers maybe would want to trade for him. We'll see. Patriots, ton of guys getting work here. Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins, and Diggs lead the way in routes run and targets. Kyle Williams, the 3rd-round rookie, doing absolutely nothing still. They have a Week 14 bye, so going to be very late bye. Demario Douglas barely plays, but does get like a 50-yard catch in this game. Henry and Hooper, so a lot of 12 personnel. Ramondre significantly outsnapping Travion, 50 snaps to 14, 14 carries to 10. I think we can all see the writing on the wall. New England is a good, not great football team that I think is like a year away from being as good as they can be, where they're going to improve the O-line, they're going to improve the wide receiver core, and what's most likely going to happen is Mike Vrabel is going to lose in the playoffs because he plays Ramondre too much, and they don't bother to get Travion Henderson like up to speed, Henderson only 14 snaps, but 10 carries. Ramondre, 50 snaps, 14 carries. It's like, my God, Drake May can only do so much by himself. We did see one trade today for like a corner, so maybe some trades start coming. Giants and Eagles, 38-20 for the Eagles. We'll start with the Giants. Huge bummer for them. I didn't draft any Cam Scatterbo, but, hard guy not to root for. Funny on social media. There's the post about him like eating crayons and just like hitting his head against stuff and being a lovable idiot. Horrific injury for him. Certainly out for this year. You hope he can return healthy next year. Box score wise, Dart, 200 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Terrible, all-time bad reffing in this game. Hot take conspiracy. Roger Goodell is telling the refs to mess up the tush-push calls so that the owners nullify it next year. You turn the public against it. It's an easy vote out. The NFL, they don't want rugby as part of the game, right? Because the truth is, anyone who knows rugby is if an NFL team truly committed to rugby plays, they would dominate because you're not allowed to block in rugby. And guess what you can do in football? You can block. Anyways, Tyrone Tracy seems to be the clear RB2 or the RB1 now. 10 for 39. Dart gets a rushing touchdown, saving the day. Singletary, he's not going to get sold at the trade deadline, you would think, with the Scatterbo injury. Wan'Dale Robinson, 3 for 48 in the air. Slayton has a touchdown nullified in this one, 2 for 26. Eagles handily win. 4 touchdowns for Hurts, only 180 yards passing. No A.J. Brown in this one. And some possibility he gets traded. It doesn't make sense to me, but if a guy is going to sabotage your team and pout and quit on routes, at a certain point, you just got to get what you can get. Anyways, good day for Saquon, 14 for 150 and 1. Does exit with a groin injury. The Eagles are another team that are going into their bye. And I would be, Tank Bigsby seems like the clear guy you want to have as RB2. So I would hold Tank Bigsby and managed. And even Will Shipley, if they had a game with no Saquon, what would they do? Would they play all Tank? Would they play Tank and Will? Would they play Tank, Will, and A.J. Dillon? I don't know. You don't know. It probably would not be 100% Tank, though. But Tank Bigsby back from the dead, 9 for 104 in this one. Looked great. So maybe Tank Bigsby revival for the best ball bags. Devonta Smith, 6 for 84. Jahan Dotson, 140 and 1. And then Dallas Goedert, 328 and 2. Goddard continues just to score touchdowns everywhere. Wan'Dale, 4 targets. Slayton, 5 targets. Nice to see Slayton back in here. And then little Jordan Humphrey and Bo Collins getting the rest. Theo Johnson, 30 for 4. Daniel Bellinger got hurt in this one. I don't know how serious. Cam Scatterbo out for the year. So Tyrone Tracy, big boost for him, you would think. Eagles, another very boring team to look at. What is notable is no A.J. Brown. So what happened? A guy named Darius Cooper is your wide receiver 4 there. John Mechie and Xavier Gibson barely playing at all. Grant Calcaterra also got a lot of snaps in this one. So heavy 12 personnel for them. A little bit of routes run for Grant, who we saw a lot last year with the Goddard injuries. And then, kind of puzzling because in the first game of the year, Will Shipley on the first drive of the year got work and looked good for the Eagles. Then he has the ribs injury. So there is some possibility that Shipley is still working back from injury, or maybe the Eagles moved on from Shipley. But anyways, with no Saquon, what did we see? 16 snaps for Tank, 8 for Shipley, 3 routes for each, 9 carries for Tank, 3 for Shipley. Again, I have Will Shipley in some leagues. I'm tempted to cut him, but with the Saquon injury, he says he's probably going to be fine, but you never know. You never really know there. Bucks destroy the Saints. 23-3. Starting with the Bucks, 152 yards passing for Baker. So not great offense for him today. Makes sense with a bunch of injuries. Sean Tucker, 12-42 and 1. This was the team that Sean Tucker had a blow-up game against last year, so they seem motivated to get him that touchdown. Rashad White, 13 for 35. Tez Johnson, 5 for 43. Cade Otton, 4 for 40. Amika Ibuka, 3 for 35. Amika also had a touchdown clank off his hands, kind of. The defender was there as well. Looks like it's finally Tyler Shuck's turn. Spencer Rattler did get benched in this one, and Shuck did not look great, but you would think that they're going to turn to Shuck moving forward. 128 yards passing for Shuck, 1 interception. Alvin Kamara, 6 for 21. Terrible. Please trade him or something. Rashid Shaheed hurt his hip at the end of this one, but I believe injury docs are saying it's not serious. 9 for 75. Chris Olave visited the medical tent. 8 for 63. Did return, though. Juwan Johnson, 5 for 53. So, we got to see a full game with Shuck. And, again, the trade deadline is November 4th. Are they going to let Shuck play with Shaheed and Olave and then trade someone? You would think that maybe the Saints would have wanted their second-round rookie to play with their wide receivers before they trade them, Again, I don't think it makes sense to trade Shaheed and Olave, but who knows? So, no Godwin, no Mike Evans. It's Tez Johnson. It's Sterling Shepard. Tez Johnson, the clear RB, wide receiver 2. It is the Bucs bye coming at the right time for them. Cade Otton, startable and managed as well with his workload. And then Sean Tucker playing a ton in this one. Don't know if it has to do with the Saints or if this is just the plan. We should get Bucky back here soon, though. Saints, not an interesting team to look at until we get Shuck back. Taysom barely played. Juwan Johnson played a ton. Devon Bailey and Brandon Cooks kind of shared duties there. There's been rumblings Cooks could get traded too. I mean, who's trading for Cooks, man? Devin Neal, he's the clear RB2, but yeah, nothing doing there. Cowboys get beat down by the Broncos 44-24. I personally think these are two teams that are like, whatever. But we'll see. Maybe the Broncos or something. Dak, 2 interceptions, terrible day. Javonte Williams, 3.2 yards per carry, 41 yards, but 2 touchdowns. So he saves the day in fantasy despite a very inefficient day. Very notable, Jaden Blue, 8 for 29. So Jaden Blue is seeing the field now. George Pickens, 7 for 78. CeeDee Lamb, 7 for 74. Okay days in fantasy. Jalen Tolbert, touchdown, 250-1. For the Broncos, Bo Nix throws 4 touchdowns. Pretty good. RJ Harvey, though, catches 2 touchdowns. Runs in 2 touchdowns and catches a touchdown. So 3 touchdown day for him despite not playing that much. J.K. Dobbins crosses 100 yards rushing. Troy Franklin, your leading wideout for them, 690-2. Cortland Sutton, a whatever day, 4 for 70. And then Pat Bryant, the rookie, 240-1. Pat Bryant and Trey Harris scoring touchdowns. For the Cowboys, Ryan Flournoy, Kevontae Turpin kind of splitting up the wide receiver 3 duties. Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver 4, so maybe his touchdown came in garbage time. Ferguson got blanked in this one. Luke Schoonmaker and Brevin Spann-Ford both playing a ton, but a lot of teams run 12. Jaden Blue, only 14 snaps, but he did get 8 carries to Javonte's 13. So maybe the Javonte league winner stuff is going to cool down if Blue starts getting so much work. Maybe this had to do with the blowout, something to monitor, though. For the Broncos, Sutton and Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant ran the most routes. So Marvin Mims got a concussed in this one, I think is what happened. But anyways, nice to see Pat Bryant ticking up in workload. Again, Mims got concussed, so we'll see how sticky it is. Evan Ingram continues to not play that much, but got 4 targets and ran more routes than Troutman. The split on Dobbins and Harvey, 33 snaps for Dobbins, 17 for Harvey, 14 routes for Dobbins, 9 for Harvey, 15 carries for Dobbins, 7 for Harvey. Titans get destroyed by the Colts. I mean, the Titans were kind of competitive for a second, and then they punted twice on the opponent's territory. Like, fire everyone, man. Fire them again. Cam Ward, 260-1. Tajay Spears looked pretty good. 9 for 60-1. Almost got another touchdown. Tony Pollard, 11 for 44. Chimere DK, who's a guy I drafted some, 7 for 93. He looks great. Chigakonkwo, 4 for 53. Gunnar Helm scores a touchdown, 2 for 23. Alec Ayamanor, 4 for 52. Colts, Daniel Jones, 3 touchdowns, 272 yards passing. Jonathan Taylor, only 12 carries, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Unreal. Michael Pittman, 8 for 95-1, continues to crush. Alec Pierce continues to be awesome, 2 for 70. A touchdown for Josh Downs, a receiving touchdown for JT. So Tyler Lockett is on the Raiders now. So it's Elikai Minor, Chimere DK, and Van Jefferson. 8 targets apiece. Good news for the rookies because Van Jefferson typically is not a great target earner. Chigakonkwo, some rumoring that he could get traded at the trade deadline. I don't know who's trading for him, but yeah. Him and Gunnar Helm split in the workload. And then Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard in a perfectly even split. 11-9 carries, 17-18 routes, 3-1 targets, 37-33 snaps. Some possibility Pollard gets shipped out at the trade deadline. For the Colts, Pierce, Pittman, Downs. Those are your top 3 wideouts in this. Pittman with the most targets. Tyler Warren, 5 targets. Tyler Warren continues to be like a good football player, but not crushing in fantasy. And then kind of noteworthy is the rookie. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now. But anyways, the rookie running back that a lot of people drafted as the RB2 for the Colts. I think he was healthy and active for this one. So Tyler Goodson was active. That is why Amir Abdullah played for the Raiders last year. He was the RB2. So yeah, who knows what would happen if JT got hurt? Maybe, thank you. DJ Giddens. Probably Giddens would be the RB2 there, but not a good sign when you're healthy and active in a blowout game. Can't even get the garbage time, right? Packers beat the Steelers here 35-25, scoring 21 points in the fourth quarter here. Jordan Love, 360 and 3 in the air. Emmanuel Wilson, efficient day, 11 for 61. Josh Jacobs, inefficient day, 13-33, 2.5 yards per carry. 1 touchdown, though. Tucker Kraft continues to be unreal. A guy I liked a lot in best ball, 7 for 143 and 2, looking like the best tight end in football. Christian Watson, I mean, this Christian Watson stuff is unreal. This man, I did not think, he tore his ACL week 18. 4 for 85 for him. Romeo Doubs, 3 for 44. Malik Heath, 3 for 29. No Dontavian Wicks in this one. And then Matthew Golden, 3 catches, 4 yards. Yikes. Jaden Reed might return as well. So, yeah, not great for Golden. Aaron Rodgers, 220 and 2. Jaylen Warren, 13 for 62. Roman Wilson, 474 and 1, scoring a touchdown late. DK Metcalf, 5 for 55 and 1. Nice to see Calvin Austin healthy. Didn't do much, though. Usage-wise, Dobbs, Golden, and Watson lead the way in routes run and targets, pretty much. Tucker Kraft, 8 targets for him, 32 routes. Pretty much every week, one player destroys the Steelers. They do get the Browns week 17, though, so who knows? Judkins, I guess? I don't know. John Fitzpatrick and Luke Musgrave, the blocking tight ends, get in there a little bit. And then Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson, pretty even workload in this one. You would think we're going to get Marshawn Lloyd back here eventually. Someone was like, on my last video, was like, you got to stop mentioning Marshawn Lloyd, dude. He's always hurt. Dude, Rashad Penny, guys. Rashad Penny was a 0 at this time of year and literally won me BBM too. So it's not how the NFL works. Sorry. Anyways, 11 carries for Wilson, 13 for Josh Jacobs, 3 targets each, 11 routes for Wilson, 15 for Jacobs. So not great for Jacobs. And, Emmanuel Wilson firmly needs to be rostered in managed leagues. For the Steelers, Metcalf, Austin, and Roman Wilson, your top 3 wideouts. Ben Skoranek, blocking wideout. Jonnu out snaps the tight end group this week, out routes the tight end group this week. Pat Freiermuth did take like a big hit. I think he's okay, though. Nothing doing in the box score because of it. And then Kenneth Gainwell played quite a bit. Jaylen Warren looks good. But, yeah, Gainwell getting a decent amount of work in this one. Okay, folks, that will do it for the recap. I will manage to move on in the eliminator. Was a sweat. We were facing Davis and I, who drafted this team together. We were facing a terrible team in the sense that the team we were facing had only Tyler Algier at running back. Nope, wrong thing. But there was some possibility we could have lost if DK Metcalf had a great game. Ended up winning by 3 + 8, 11 points. And what's nice is it's nice to get through when CMC has a bad game. It's also nice to get through when JSN's on bye and JMO's on bye. However, really need Rashid Shaheed to be healthy because we are a bit thin at wideout. But yeah, hey, for me, it's if we can reach week 10, the sweat starts to feel really real, because then it's you're 4 weeks from week 14. You're 7 weeks from the finals. So nice to make week 9 the only team left here. Any fantasy questions you guys got, let me know. We'll just look at some of the top scores here. for the week. So I don't know how to find that page, so we'll just do this. So for week 8, if we just go by position here, JT Cook, Brees, Saquon, smashing. RJ Harvey, another good day for him as well. Not that much usage, though. Jordan Love, Drake May, Herbert, great games. At wideout, Troy Franklin, your wide receiver 1. Michael Pittman, your 2. Waddle, your 3. Shakir, your 4. Ladd, you're tied for 4. So, like, a low-scoring wide receiver week. And then, Tucker Kraft lapping the field at tight end. 30 points for him. Unreal. I don't think it's over for Lloyd. We'll see, but I do not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I got for you today. On Wednesday, I will be back with the Best Ball Leaderboard Show, where I talk more best ball-centric things. We'll run through my teams, give some takes for best ball. In the comments, let me know what your favorite Week 17 game is. Now that we have more info, that is something I'm going to open the show with on Wednesday. Hope everyone has a lovely day. Peace out.